BookTube, this is an epic book haul, at least for me. I mean, it's not Sean D. Standfast epic. I've been watching his, since he returned from his unfortunate month or two he had. He's been doing a great book haul. He's on part 3 when I last checked. So worth getting over there to check out. Good stuff. But this for me is a pretty epic book haul. So I'm going to start with the random volumes that aren't part of a set, and the second part is a set. So I spent $23 on all of this, and I love it. It's fantastic. So I'm going to start out here, and we're going to try to move fairly quickly. This is Women in Power, a Manifesto, Mary Beard, who is the best-selling author of SPQR, which I read and very much enjoyed. It's a little hardback. I have seen it around. I don't know if it was on BookTube or where I saw it. This is Little Publishing Corporation, division of W.W. Norton and Company, New York and London. And this is 2017. It has a preface, the public voice women in power, and afterwards and references for further reading. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. It has some images in it, and so she is a classicist, and I very much enjoy her work. So, excited to find that. Obviously, a quick little read, but I will read it. Then this next one, I actually been hearing about this novelist at my library. Somebody in town discovered the writer. I did reach out to Jason Harrigan to ask a little bit about the writer, and he kindly answered me. And this is Niall Williams, 4 Letters of Love. So I would have walked right by this without realizing what it was if I hadn't had those conversations. I've never read this author, but there seems to be folks, at least in my town, who really, really enjoy his work. So it's 4 Letters of Love, a novel by Niall Williams, Farrar, Straus and Giroux, New York. This is 1997, the first American edition. The author is here. He was born in Dublin, 1958. He's a playwright, author of 4 books written with his wife, the artist Christine Breen, about their life in County Clare with their 2 children. So there he is. And this is William Coughlin abandons his wife and his son, Nicholas, to paint the pictures he believes God has commanded. He disappears into the west of Ireland on a mission, following a prompting that may or may not have been real, as he daubs the canvas and stares at the Atlantic light. On an island on the west coast, a boy gifted in music falls mute and lame while playing with his sister. It is a moment that scars the heart of Isabel Gore as she helps her brother, Sean, home across the island to meet the disbelief and sorrow of her parents. So I just know this now by reputation, and excited to find it. Like I say, I would have walked right by it, but I did not. Then this is more for my wife. She's the gardener in the family. This is Catherine Swift's The Morville Hours. This is a Walker and Company, New York, 2008. Let's see here. Let me read a little bit about it. Nobody writes about gardens like the English, and few English writers have ever been as eloquent or as astute as Catherine Swift. Some 20 years ago, she and her husband leased a house in Shropshire with a garden that became her passion. Driven to uncover its history, she takes readers on a journey back through time, linking the stories of those who lived in the house and tended the same red soil with her family's own saga. Spanning hundreds of years, The Morville Hours is also deeply personal, a journey through the seasons and one of self-exploration, of finding one's place in the world and putting down roots. Sounds good. I may even read it myself. Excuse me. Then this one is a replacement volume for me. I had a little small trade paperback. This is Ruth Reichel, Comfort Me with Apples, More Adventures at the Table. I read it and liked it. Nice to have a copy. In this delightful sequel to her bestseller Tender at the Bone, the beloved food writer Ruth Reichl returns with more tales full of love, life, humor, and marvelous meals. So, yeah, if you like that sort of thing, and I do, this is Random House, New York, 2001. So, there you go. We have some reviews on the back there. What are you doing, kitty? And we have here a couple of books with a theme here, which happens. These are actually from the same person donated. We had to take those little address stickers you get sometimes in the mail to put on your envelope, so they had put them on the front of the book, which it's their book. They can do what they want, but Deb took them off for me. This is Daphne Phelps, House in Sicily, with a foreword by Dennis Mack Smith. This has a little newspaper review taped in the front, which is fine. Newspaper will destroy. It's printed with very acidic paper, so you wouldn't want it necessarily on the pages of the book, but in here on the end papers, it's not a big deal. I may take it out. Where was it? Does it tell me what newspaper it was? New York Times Book Review. And the review was by Corby Kummer. Kummer. Kummer, maybe? What do you do with a house you inherit? Turn it into a pension. So this is Carol Graff Publishers Incorporated, New York. And this came out in 1999. I don't know if there's any images in it. Didn't really even get a chance to look through it much. No. Tennessee Williams, Bertrand Russell, Roald Dahl, and Henry Faulkner didn't come merely to Sicily. They came to Casa Cucina, a perfectly proportioned house built in golden stone on a hillside in Taormina, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, commanding a breathtaking view of the majestic Mount Etna, which I believe is acting up right now, and the sparkling coastal waters of the Ionian Sea, where they enjoyed the warm hospitality of a modest, independent Englishwoman named Daphne Phelps, and that's the author. For 50 years, Casa Cucina has been the home of Daphne Phelps, and in this charming memoir, she tells a story that began in 1947, when, with next to no knowledge of Italian and precious little money, a war-weary 34-year-old Daphne arrived in the small Sicilian town of Taormina to sell the house she had unexpectedly inherited. Instead, she fell in love not just with the airy quarters and lovely gardens, but also with the community and its way of life. I'm really looking forward to this. Oh, there are images. There are pictures. Okay. I thought that would be quite a loss if there wasn't. Yeah, wow. Okay. So we got these. This could be quite good. So, looking forward to that, huh? And then the last of these that aren't part of the set I picked up. So this is the Stone Boudoir. Travels through the hidden villages of Sicily by Teresa Maggio. She's written something called Matanza also. A lovely cover. Hanging out to dry there a little bit. It does have, I don't know if you can see this, the end papers have a map, which is always nice. This is Perseus Publishing, a member of the Perseus Book Group, and this came out in 2002. So it's a story about going through all the little villages. I don't know if this one has any images. No. So looking forward to this also, a little theme. So now we get to the set. I believe it's a Book Olive who collects these. I've had them before. I'm going to work through them fairly quickly. I'll try to show you some illustrations from each of them, but the titles speak for themselves, which is sort of the point. So, Let me see here. We start with these are every one of these are one of these Reader's Digest. What do they call them? The world's best reading. So they all also have these little pub sheets with them. They're not pub sheets, they're the club sheets. The Return of Sherlock Holmes, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So these are all $1 a piece. So let me see here if I can. So if you want to see the frontispiece, right there. So it's illustrations by David Johnson, afterwards by John L. Cobbs. Let me just try. I think this one was mostly little inset pieces of art. Well, no, they have full. Reichenbach Falls, I'm assuming. Probably safe assumption. And here's another illustration. So I'm going to go through these fairly quick, but I've got a lot of them. I think 13 or 14 of them. All right, and then another Sherlock Holmes. And this one also has the little, they all have the little sheet, so I'm not going to mention that anymore. And this one is illustrations by David Johnson with an afterword by Philip A. Schreffler. Now, both of them had this on it. And then they're all reprints. I'm not going to go through the pub dates and all that. Easy enough to find online. I know a lot of people collect these. And then moving right along, obviously I have other copies of this. It's sort of pretty how they did. This is Jane Austen's Emma, and it's sort of pretty how they did that there. I like the color of the end papers on this. I don't know if it comes through. It's got sort of a nice lilac-y type of look to it. This is illustration by C.E. Brock and Joan Hassel, and afterwards by Carol Moulton. Let me see if I find a couple of illustrations here, just to give you a feel of that. Oh, here, I'll just do this. Then next we have, let me put this in there, Heart of the West by O. Henry. This has illustrations by Joseph Caradiello and afterward by Fred Lebrun. Let me say, I thought this one had like a, get an illustration so you get an idea what that looks like. So there you go. Then we go to Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I know there's a lot of fans of this book on BookTube. This has illustrations by Nanette Beers with an afterwards by Daphne du Maurier. Quite a pretty volume, this one. Right here, I just went by an illustration. I'm just trying to get you a couple of illustrations so you can get an idea about the volume. Then James Hilton, Goodbye Mr. Chips and Other Stories. Right here. This is illustrations by Donna Diamond. And then I love this one. This is The Adventures of Robin Hood by Paul Creswick. And this one has the illustrations of N.C. Wyeth and the afterwards J.C. Holt. So this is right up Steve's Donahue's collecting alley. I know he says he doesn't collect, but he does. And I believe, I may be wrong about this, but I could have swore he had this in a Scribner's Illustrated Classic, which is pretty nice. So, yeah, I got to show you a few more of these illustrations, right? Couldn't get away with that. So here's one. I just find them at random here. There, I'll take this little sheet out. There's another one. I go right by them. Oh, here's another one. So, thrilled to have this one. This next one I've read, and it's not really one of my favorites. It's real. I think it's dated, but it's good to have. It says Ben-Hur by Lew Wallace. And there you go. Three Wise Men. Illustration by Warren Chang, decorations by William N. Johnson, and afterwards by Robert and Catherine Morsberger. They did a lovely job on the volume. I probably overstate how much I like or don't like it. I read it a long, long time ago, and who knows. I love how they do this on the pages with these little spot illustrations. I mean, it's a lovely, lovely volume. And there you go. Get this little club sheet in there. Then another one I'm really thrilled to have. There's some in here that I really, really like, and that's To Build a Fire and Other Stories, Jack London. And I'll show you on these little, if I can get it unstuck there, this little club sheets, the nice thing about them, they do have quite a bit of information on them. So I said I wouldn't mention them again, but I obviously failed at that. Illustrations by David Frampton, and afterwards by Earl Labor. And some great stories in here. Oh, here we go. The patience of the wolf was terrible. Look at that. So that's fun stuff. And then we have A Journey to the Center of the Earth, Jules Verne. Illustrations by Lars Håkansson, and afterwards by James Hines. This is a beautifully illustrated volume. Just wonderful. I took a quick look through these before I started this video. I mean, I've been back basically for a little more than an hour. I had to go pick up some supplies for the library, and yeah, you just can't go by that the Lifson shop there. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Really love it. Then I have Anne of Green Gables, A.L.M. Montgomery. Afterwards by James Hines, and then illustrations by Mick Ellison. Give you a taste for that. Oh, let me see here. Then Life with Father by Clarence Day. Again, illustrations by Mick Ellison, and afterwards by Robert M. Brown. Then, these next two I was thrilled to find. This is The Caine Mutiny by Herman Welk, with this signal flags going up the side there, both sides. Here's the cover so you can get a look. And then it has a wonderful line drawing of the ship. Illustrations by John Thompson, afterwards by James Hines. Again, look at that. This I'm thrilled to find. This is due for a reread. This is just a wonderful book. And this, I like the little separators for each section. It's like a blueprint sheet. Let's see if I find another one. I'm sure I can. Oh, here, I can see it through the side here. So pretty nice. Then 2 years before the mast. Love this book. And this, on the frontispiece, is this, the route. Then the back here is a close-up of California. This is Richard Henry Dana Jr., A Personal Narrative of Life at Sea, 2 years before the Mass, and the illustrations are by E. Boyd Smith with an afterwards by Thomas Fleming. And this is, like, you see how the chapter is heading with a little spot illustration, like that. See if they have more for illustrations. Those are wonderful in and of themselves. That seems to be what they're doing here. So a great book I have not read in a very, very long time. I've got just a heck of a pile going on here. Let me see if I can do that without giving it all away. Then the Yearling with these little up the side, and this is Marjorie Kennan Rollins, and it's illustrations by Edward Shenton, and afterwards by Thomas Di Pietro, I believe is how you say it. I'll let you look at it yourself, see what you think. And this charming little illustration there. Another one of those books I really enjoyed. Problem with this is I'm going to have to get another bookshelf. And then we have The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. And this is illustrations by James Barkley, afterwards by Edward Wagenknecht. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It does look like it must be right, but never know. Oh, here we go. And then finally, Roughing It by Mark Twain. Illustrations by Eminent Artists. Is that a person's name? I'm kidding. Afterwards by Scott Russell Sanders. So obviously we have more than one artist in here. Oh, here we go. So that's the pile. So that's a lot of books. And it was a good day, excited about them. I had to find a spot for them, but that's no problem. We'll figure it out. So I hope everyone's having a good day. It's beautiful blue skies here. Still snow on the ground. Not as bad as Old Chapters. Old Blues chapter and verse, or I made this up. Old Blues chapter and verse. There we go. They got hit out west, so we can be fortunate we didn't. So we were 60 degrees Fahrenheit last week. We were 12 degrees today. We had some snow yesterday, but not much. So just was fun to get out, ride around. The gardening and seed catalogs are showing up, so we're going through that, and all is fun. So I hope everyone did well and does well and feels well. And thank you, BookTube.